So, man, the big three is back live on your dial, man. Look, fresh out of Columbus, Georgia, man, live. Man, look here, man. I'm so excited because not only do we have football that's coming back, we just had the biggest party of the summer in arguably one of the best summer slams, arguably of all time, man. So big ups to the WWE, man. They have been doing it up all year long, man. And I must say, man, this has been a very, very exciting year in order to be a wrestling fan, man. I have to say that, man, because man, it's been super. You know, when you think about the excitement around the WWE, man, it doesn't get any more exciting than this year, especially when you consider what they're doing without the great Vince McMahon. Man. Say what you will about Vince McMahon, he was the stablemate for a long time for wrestling. So for those guys, for Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and those writers to be doing what they're doing without the great Vince McMahon, I say I got to tip my hat to him, man. But what says you guys, man?
You can go, Flash.
I'm sorry. What did you say again?
You know, bad. For them to be doing some of this writing without Vince McMahon at the helm, you know, this is like the beginning of the new era, and they do stress that a lot of time. What do you think about the new era and how they're doing things versus, you know, the way the old regime Vince used to do it? You know, are they making the steps in the right direction? Do you applaud them more for them to be doing it without them, or what have you?
I think not just in an aspect of storytelling and writing. I mean, if you follow the WWE at all, you've heard, I'm sure you've read articles or seen people with reports saying that just the culture in the locker room is 1,000 times better. You know, wrestlers now, like, you know, they can go home for their kids' birthdays. They, you know, if they need time off for injuries, like they actually get the time off. You know, they've limited the live shows, like the house shows that they used to do. You know, they still do them, but they don't do them as much. It's not as grueling as it was before. And I don't even think just the last year of wrestling has been phenomenal. Like the last couple.
Yeah.
I mean the pops that this era, this regime, the Triple H regime. I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's the DX regime. It's basically him, Shawn, and Nick Khan, and they're running the show, and they had just done a marvelous job. I mean, the fact that they were able to pull off the Punk return, and not pass up on that pop, and the way they did it, like everything that they're doing. Like if you've ever seen a interview with the Undertaker and how they pull off WrestleMania 40, the last like 6 minutes, like they are on like fire when it comes to like everything. Now, you know, so I think they're going in an absolutely right direction. I think Triple H is also, you know, going to find that healthy balance between the Attitude Era and adult content to friendly kid content as well, because you can't go completely rated, you know, you can't go all PG-13 or rated R. As evidence of like, because I was at SummerSlam this past weekend, and I was with my 6-year-old daughter, and I'm not taking my 6-year-old daughter to an Attitude Era Monday Night Raw. No, so and the fact that like Cody is so huge with the kid, my daughter was lucky enough to meet Cody and a bunch of wrestlers this weekend. It was awesome weekend. Like I just want to say something too. They're doing a great job on all levels. It's not just the writing, but like being able to experience what I experienced this weekend with the V Foundation and the WWE and the Cleveland Browns, by the way, and what they were able to do, and the charity, and how great the wrestlers were with just my daughter. Like I posted a ton on social media. You know, my daughter got to meet Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, Bayley, Chelsea Green, and they were like inseparable best friends the whole time at the event. She met Trish Stratus at another event on Friday. So and all of them, you know, I want to tell parents that aren't into the WWE or don't think it's like a kid thing. If you ever want your kid to be into something where they get a chance to meet their heroes and they're not disappointed, wrestling would be the way to go, because these wrestlers are phenomenal with kids, and it's just overall, I think Nick Khan, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels are doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah. Let's go to the chat real quick before we let you go, BRL. Shout out to Brandon from the block, man. Every Monday and every Wednesday, man. The throwdown, it gets real nasty on that show, man. But you gotta love it, man. The hot takes that they have on that show, man. One of the best shows of all time, man. So you gotta check that out. Remember, every Monday and Wednesday, check out the Throwdown podcast, man. And check them out not only on YouTube, but also on TikTok and also on Instagram as well. Shout out to Mr. Watson, OG. Appreciate you, man. Hey, go and check out the Sports for You podcast and the No Rules podcast as well, man. Two hell of a podcast straight out of the West Coast. I call them the best from the West for a reason, man. Hell of a job, Mr. Watson, in the Sports for You podcast, man. But moving forward, BRF, you have the floor.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what Flash was saying, I mean, yeah, these last couple of years have been killer as far as like the quality of the wrestling, the quality of the storytelling. Just, I would say between the last 2 years, there's maybe a handful of premium live events that they didn't knock it out of the park with. I mean, and you got to think they have a lot of PLEs, and the fact that they've only missed on like maybe 3 or 4 of them tops as far as just like genuine quality from top to bottom. I've always been a fan of the Triple H pay-per-view layout, 5 to 7 matches, not wearing not wearing the crowd out, keeping the crowd involved, in tune to every match, because those 10, 11, 12, 13 match, 4.5 hour pay-per-views that Vince McMahon used to have, unless the cards were just loaded, you would lose the crowd for a portion of it. Because I mean, they're humans. They're gonna get tired. I mean, it's hard to pace yourself or to keep pace when you have that many matches and there's not a lot of break time in between. 5 to 7 matches, you can keep a similar time frame, 3.5, maybe 4 hours. But between each match, you're allowing those crowds to recoup, especially because, like, an example like SummerSlam, that crowd lost their absolute minds for the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley match. They lost their absolute mind. But the fact that they were able to recoup and still get loud for the Sami Braun match, I mean, I love the layout of how Triple H is doing these. I think Triple H and let me tell you something, Shawn Michaels, kudos. What he's doing in NXT right now, it's not because, I mean, you remember Triple H started this NXT snowball of just good quality storytelling and wrestling with NXT. And Shawn Michaels is like took the ball and he's scoring like even more touchdowns with NXT with what he's doing. I mean, did y'all just see the Great American Bash? Let me tell you, let me tell you something. The ending, when you see the Great American Bash, that ending is going to shock you. That's all I'm going to say. The ending is going to blow your mind. That's all I'm going to say. Shawn Michaels has been killing it. But yeah, I agree with pretty much everything that Flash has said. I mean, what WWE has been able to do the last couple of years, and just Triple H is just the king of long-term storytelling. He is the king of it. The man just knows when to plant the right seeds, when to kind of draw the ire of the fan base a little bit, but not give them too much. And then when that climax, when you get to that big, just that payoff, it hits every time. It hits every time. Like going back to Liv and Rhea, Dominic turning, that was the bam. Like he knows when to get you. Even though a lot of people expected it, you're still just like, you're looking at it. Like I'm looking at it and I see Dom pick up and I'm like, he's finna do it, ain't he? And then he laid the kiss on in my eyes. You're still like, they really did it. So I mean, it's just it's just like they've been so good with everything these last couple of years, and it feels like, you know, going international more with some of these pay-per-views. I mean, you got Bash in Berlin coming up this month. We're coming up soon. I mean, Randy Orton and Gunther is probably going to be your main event. I mean, come, bro. I mean, they're killing it right now. I mean, you just have to give so much credit to what Triple H and Nick Khan and Shawn Michaels are doing with all three of these brands and being able to really kind of just. And the crazy thing is, right at one point, SmackDown was the hot show. Right now, you can legit say SmackDown is the third best show right now. But they may arguably have the best storyline going. So it's just they just have ways of just being able to keep your attention and keep you drawn in. So I like I said, I echo everything Flash said as far as like what the WWE is doing, and especially like he said with the meet and greets. I'm praying to God. I'm hoping I can go to Bad Blood when it hits State Farm in October. I want to go so bad. I can't guarantee I'm going to have the money for it, but I would love to go because I've never had a WWE experience. I would love to get one in my lifetime. So that's a perfect opportunity. And with a pay-per-view as nostalgic as Bad Blood, some of the great matches they've had in years past, like, it's perfect. It's perfect to bring it back. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't the 1997 Bad Blood in Atlanta?
If I'm not mistaken, yes, but I have to do some checking on that. Let me
please do because Michael Cole has said something about it on the Raw, like 27 years, 27 years to the last time the Bad Blood was held. The event was held in Atlanta. Is like, it's like a full circle moment. So
it was in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, it was St. Louis, Missouri. Okay, even if it was, it would have been like a full circle moment, but. I want to get out there. But yeah, like I said, I echo everything Flash said. I mean, this is probably as hot as it's been since, I don't know.
The Ruthless Aggression era.
Like that 04 to 07 Ruthless Aggression era time. Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, I can get with that.
I actually think this is as hot as the Attitude Era. I mean, they're selling out everything. Like it's not even like it's just we were talking about this before we went on air. Wrestling is cool again. Like if you go back to the Ruthless Aggression era, like there was still that Austin and The Rock were on their way out. So those fans kind of like the casuals kind of dipped out a little bit. And man, like right now, wrestling is one of the kings, dude. Like they are just killing it. And what I think, I made a TikTok about this like weeks ago about how now they are the way that they do their storytelling. It's so episodic. Not only are they doing themes for like a show, like whether it be Raw or PLE. I'm sorry, I don't like saying PLE. A pay-per-view. They want you to, they make you, they almost do it like a drama series where they make you tune in for every single show now, which is where Vince didn't have that foresight. Vince was at the point where he just wanted the big pop, and then that was it. He wasn't long-term anymore when it came to like drawing stuff out. And now, like, they make you just tune in every single week. Like Roman Reigns comes out, at the end of SummerSlam. Now you have to tune into SmackDown to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Dom turns on turns on Rhea and does a double heel turn, which, by the way, we'll get to the heel thing in a second. I'm not going to go there yet. But you have to turn into tune into Raw to see the next step in that storyline. Like you can't miss things now. Or like when Vince was still in charge, for the most part, you could go a week or two without like really tuning in with stuff, and you'd be like, you wouldn't miss anything. Like there wasn't anything you were like, oh, what happened? Like what is there anything big happened? Like now you have to tune in. Like I've had like a couple of weeks where I haven't been able to watch Raw or SmackDown. And then I flip on SmackDown. I'm like, what is going on? I don't understand. Like, when did this happen? And they are doing it. You know what they're really doing? is they're actually storytelling like prime Marvel Studios. That's what it reminds me. Like they are doing prime Marvel Studios where they're like TV shows. Like look at their TV shows as like the smaller projects, and then like the pay-per-views are the big like movie blockbusters. Like they are making you tune into almost everything to watch it, and it's just phenomenal. Like even though we saw most of the things coming, like we saw Dom turning on Randall, like we saw everybody for the most part like anticipated Roman coming back. Even though I'll say that when we get to that section. But, the way that they're telling the stories and the way that they're acting these things out, like the acting ability has gotten so much better. Like this is where Shawn and Triple H and their like Shawn's ability. It's why a lot of people consider Shawn to be the greatest of all time, and Tripp too, not the greatest of all time, but is really underrated in general. Those two's abilities to tell stories are second to none. And you see that now. And even though you see stuff coming, like watching Dom, like what you said, B-Ruff, watching Dom pick Liv up, the way that they're doing things and the acting is so much better. So it's like watching a movie and you know what's going to happen, but you still get upset. Like I was rewatching the last 5 minutes of WrestleMania 40, and I actually got like tears because everybody else is crying too. Like they're just doing such a great, like, and they have Samantha Irvine, like everything is clicking. Even Samantha Irvine, like the ring announcer, like she is awesome.
She almost when she was ring announcing, when she was announcing Cody as the new undisputed WWE champion, she about broke me, like straight up.
She did, yeah.
I hardly cry at all watching stuff. That woman literally, I shared a little bit. That woman about broke me, like just. And then and I remember the like the TikTok, the really like the big one at the time. I stitched the dude, the one that was like, I don't want my wrestler showing emotion, and I'm just like, bro, that's what makes this great. So it's one of those like we can agree to disagree, but I feel like I don't want my wrestlers robotic. I want my wrestlers as real people. I want my wrestlers as real people. I want them to show emotions too. They are part of this. I don't want them to just go out, do the thing, and leave, and that's it. No, this is like a male soap opera. Is what professional wrestling is. It's a soap opera for us. So they have to understand it's not just about the wrestling. It's the storytelling. It's the ring psychology. It's the promo work. Just everything about it that just kind of takes you on that ride. It's like a big freaking roller coaster, and you just don't know. But with the WWE, you don't know how it's going to end up next. And that's what makes the product. That's what makes this product now as great as it's ever been. Because you just don't know what direction it's going to take you. And even if you can predict it, it still happens. And you're just like, oh man, I got to tune in for the next show just to see where it goes from here. That's what's making this so great right now.
Yeah. And we're watching the end of WrestleMania 40, like you watch Samantha Irvine, like literally can barely make the call because she's almost crying. And then you see Michael Cole crying. And then you see Seth Rollins crying. Like, that's what I want to see. Some of the best moments, like from when I was growing up, is like, even though it was technically all staged. I mean, it was staged when like Shawn Michaels lost his smile, and in truth, he just got his butt whooped by a bunch of Marines. Like, that like there was some truth to that because like it was kind of a wake up call to him a little bit. Like he didn't get his real wake up call until a couple of years later, but I need to see that like. The whole Mick Foley original storyline with Jim Ross, and like when Jim Ross was interviewing Mankind and they blurred the lines between actually Mick Foley and Mankind, like got to know Mick Foley as a kid, and obviously it was embellished like a ton, but the whole storyline of him being he didn't look the part to be a champion, and he was always told he would never succeed, and yet that's all true. So I want to see that, dude. Like I'm not going to be afraid to say it. Like, dude, I bawled at the end of like WrestleMania 40. It was, and I'm not even Dude, I cried when Shawn Michaels retired. Like I want great storytelling. Give me stories. Let me bawl like it's the end of The Notebook for a girl.
Hey, I will say this. The biggest thing about wrestling, man, is this. That is the only sport that has ever beaten Monday Night Football in the ratings. And that's saying something. And I believe that, during the Attitude Era, there was a lot of times that Raw beat Monday Night Football in the ratings. And I believe that we're at a time where we're going to, I believe we're at a time where we're going to see a lot of Monday Night Raw beat Monday Night Football, especially depending on the game, especially if they put a lackluster game on. You're going to see a lot of times where, hey, Raw is beating Monday Night Football hand over fist. So, I mean, they have a chance to do that, man, and especially during the social. And I think wrestling is even cooler now, as much as, like I said, I don't like to be the bitter old man. You got to hand it to social media for making it cool again. Because guess what? I remember when it was like, your own little clique. Wrestling fans are very, very loyal fans. But, with the advent of social media, I think it really helped the boom because it helped get the word out just a little bit more. But, hey, I think that wrestling is going to beat Monday Night Football in a lot of rating wars this coming year because football is back. But right now we talk about wrestling, man. We talk about the squared circle, man. But speaking of SummerSlam, man, the biggest party of the summer. You know what? It's time for me a little pipe bomb here, man. So I'm going to throw it in there. I'm going to throw it in here.
You starting off with the champ.
Yes, I got to. I cannot look. We're never going to have a smooth show.
All right, go for it.
But, hey, I have to ask y'all this. Do y'all compare this SummerSlam here, the one that just passed, do y'all think that it's better than 98 SummerSlam when The Undertaker and Stone Cold headlined 98?
I think it is top to bottom. Okay. I think it is top to bottom. Let me tell you something. Undertaker and Stone Cold as a main event could carry any pay-per-view at the time. Because if I recall, SummerSlam 98 wasn't just that. It was also Rock Triple H in an Intercontinental title ladder match.
Yes, it was.
So that's basically like a double main event right there. And that could carry any show at that time. But top to bottom, you can make a case. I still think that this day the greatest one of all time is 2002. But I think you can make a case that you can make a case that this SummerSlam was better than 98, just top to bottom. It's hard to beat that. It's hard to beat that double main event. But if you're talking just from beginning to end, I think you can make a case. But yeah, the greatest for me is still 2002 because it wasn't just Triple H and Shawn Michaels in that unsanctioned match. I think that Eddie Guerrero Edge, I think, was that pay-per-view among other matches. SummerSlam 2000 and Brock Lesnar and The Rock for the WWE Championship. SummerSlam 02 was just God. It was insane. It was just it was craziness.
I don't know. I don't know. Because so SummerSlam 2002, you had Brock versus Rock, Shawn versus Tripp in the unsanctioned street fight and Shawn's return. Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio and Rob Van Dam versus Benoit for the Intercontinental title. Yeah. That's and then everybody kind of forgets 2000.
2000 was stacked too. 2000 was great too.
2000 it was Rock, Angle, and Triple H in a triple threat match for the title. Then you had the Hardys, Dudleys, Edge, and Christian in a TLC match. Mm-hmm. Then you had Benoit versus Jericho in a 2 out of 3 falls match, and then Shane versus Steve Blackman in a street fight. That's
one of the greatest spots I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, when he hit across the back of that damn kendo stick and he fell off
that 50-foot drop. Yes.
I always admired, I know we're going off subject just a little bit, but I've always admired Shane McMahon's ingenuity because, man, for you to fall off of the stage of some of the biggest spots ever, for you to just put your body on the line, and to be honest with you, it was almost like he wanted to be a wrestler as well. He wanted the big pop as well. So he used to go out there and give us something that we always had to pay attention to. With Shane, I don't know what his future is in the WWE because you're starting to hear a lot of rumors. But with him, he always came out there and tried to give you the best that he had, you know, and especially with you being the owner's son, you trying to go out there, him going out there, falling off the top of the Hell in the Cell, doing coast to coast, falling off the top of the stage, getting choke slammed through some of the stuff that he went through with Kane, getting, you know, the jumper cables incidents, which we won't go into depth about. For him to go do some of those spots, it's kind of like, it's crazy how he did that.
And not just any Hell in a Cell, the new one.
Yeah,
he's taking two announced table bumps off the new Hell in a Cell. Like, man,
I would say this year's WrestleMania is in the, because he also got 92 in London with
Bret Hart
for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, Owen and Bret and Bulldog, yeah.
And then also on that card, you had Warrior, Macho Man Randy Savage, and then Taker versus Kamala in a casket match, and the Legion of Doom versus Money Inc. for the tag titles. And then I haven't even gotten to SummerSlam 98 yet. So I think it's definitely top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're talking top 5, and you could argue, I think, maybe in top 3. 2002 and 2000, I think those two are really tough to beat.
2001 is slept on. 2001 is slept on too. I know we kind of give the invasion angle a lot of crap. SummerSlam 2001 is arguably the best invasion pay-per-view. SummerSlam 2001 hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that as well, man. That was a real hoot, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because SummerSlam, real quick. Because I believe, SummerSlam 01 was it was Rock and Booker for the WCW title. It was Stone Cold Kurt Angle. It was the first meeting for the WWF title. You had Jeff Hardy, Rob Van Dam, the hardcore ladder match for the hardcore championship. And then just all the other I'm trying to think. Well, I don't have the card with me. I can't remember, but I know you had like the APA against, who was it? It was Test, and because it was that whole angle which when Shane was really starting to establish himself as being the heel, pushing WCW, and it was that great spot of him running around the ring, and then Bradshaw finally caught him and clotheslined his head off his shoulders. I mean, SummerSlam 01, I think it was the best invasion. Between that, I think, like, if you want to go back to the invasion angle real quick, SummerSlam and Survivor Series to me were the two best invasion pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Hey,
got to give it its props. But hey, that's why we're called the Big Three, because guess what? I'm not the only one with in-depth knowledge up here. These two guys right here, in-depth, top-notch, man. I'm letting y'all know right now. Y'all seen it already. I mean, we ain't even got to explain. But going to the next segment, I got to ask y'all this. I have to ask y'all this. What was the best storyline of SummerSlam?
Go ahead, BRF.
I've been saying it's the Bloodline. The Judgment Day, the Judgment Day storyline is taking that. The Judgment Day storyline is taking that. They are it is. I think it's. I don't want to say far and away. It hasn't cleared the Bloodline storyline yet, because I think there's still variables of the Bloodline storyline that's about to come in, that's about to really make it explode. But right now, it's the Judgment Day storyline. I mean, it's the Judgment Day storyline. I knew about. I mean, if you follow wrestling and you follow the relationship between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, you know they have chemistry, because I'm pretty sure in real life they're like dogs like that. They're friends like that. So you ought to know they have a type of like a chemistry there. But just seeing the way that match played, I knew that match was going to be good. I didn't think that match was going to be that good. That match exceeded my expectations, particularly with Rhea. I mean, the spot where she knocks her shoulder out of place, then rams it into the announce table to put it back in place. I saw that spot and I immediately said, Rhea's about to kill her. I'm like, if she can do that to herself, I'm scared what she's going to do to Liv. But Dominic Mysterio, that boy is playing his role to almost perfection. Like just and again, this is Triple H planting the seeds, the long-term storytelling. He started this after Rhea got hurt. That little spot during that Jey Uso interview. Well, Liv Morgan is coming out of the locker room, and then Dominic Mysterio follows her out of the locker room like 2-3 minutes later. Like you just saw it right there. It's just little seeds. And then you just saw more like a few weeks ago. You know, when Rhea came back, Damian Priest was like, "You lied to me about communicating with Rhea, and you lied with me. You lied to me about trying to stop her with Liv." Like just so many things, and then to get the first big payoff with Dom turning on Rhea, it's just oh my gosh, it's been amazing. And then the Finn turn, I kind of had a feeling it was coming because I wanted to see Damian Priest win that world championship, but I just feel like they built up Gunther way too much before this match to not let him take it. And at this point, I feel like Damian Priest, Seth Rollins did an amazing job with the World Heavyweight Championship, but Damian Priest, for those who said he was going to be a transitional champion, did a hell of a job with that championship with himself because now he's elevated himself into like one of the main people of Monday Night. I've been on the Damian Priest bandwagon from the jump, and he's validating me week after week after week. This man puts on banger matches. His promo work's getting better. Those promos he cut on Monday Night Raw are two of the best promos I've heard in a while, especially that backstage promo. Oh my God, that backstage promo was money. If you have not seen that backstage promo where he basically destroys JD McDonough, you need to watch it. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen, but it's almost like he's in a comfort zone. I think he was starting to find his way as a heel. I think he's a better babyface. I think he plays the man of the people. This babyface role, he nails it to a T. And you heard the crowd Monday night. They were behind him. They were behind Rhea. If Edge was watching Monday Night Raw, he's probably smiling like a proud daddy right now because his goal for the Judgment Day was to elevate Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. And you cannot tell me they're not two of the top 5, 6, 7 people on Monday Night Raw. It did what he wanted him to do. And I'm happy for Damian Priest. I've always been on his bandwagon. Y'all know how I feel about Rhea Ripley. I think she's the face of the women's division, regardless of which show. So, I mean, it's just this. I want to see where it goes, particularly with the Finn Balor angle, because I want to see what he does. The new Judgment Day only goes as far as Finn Balor allows it to go. Because if he gets back to his status like he was before he left NXT, basically he was about to have the rocket strapped to him. He beat Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship, and the only reason why he had to relinquish it was because of that injury he suffered that put him out of action. If he can get himself back to that status, this new Judgment Day will be a success. But I think it only goes as far as Finn Balor allows it. But I really feel like if he's going to go back to that 2018, 2019 NXT, that Prince persona, that true Prince persona, he can make this work because he killed that persona his second run in NXT. So if he can go back to that, he can do some things with this group. But yeah, for right now, the Judgment Day storyline has pretty much overtaken every other storyline right now. Is the best one going. They're putting in work. They're doing an amazing job with that storyline.
Here, we're going to meet the buffet with all that damn cooking you just did. Shit. Just being real. I didn't have to say a word. Flash, go ahead. I can't talk that. I'm not going to say nothing this segment.
Well, I completely agree. I was going to say, I actually think right now that the Judgment Day, so I haven't been a Damian Priest guy. I've been kind of ho-hum on him. I'm kind of like, you know what? Like, he's not really giving me heel vibes. Like, I think his promos are kind of average. He's got a very monotone kind of voice. Like, I'm just not seeing it. Like, his in-ring ability has gotten a lot better. Like, I'm like, okay, all right, blah, blah, blah. my argument or my right take is the Judgment Day has actually produced more stars and will produce more stars in the Bloodline storyline. Within the faction.
I can see that. I can see that. I agree. I agree with that.
Within the faction. Because Dom, Rhea, and Damian are now all bona fide stars. SummerSlam, took all three of them to another level. And then Monday Night Raw even elevated them more with Damian's promo and then them hugging it out after beating the crap out of the New Judgment Day or whatever. That turned Damian into a star. That went from he's like, okay, maybe he's a transitional champion to now he's a star and he will be a star. So and right now when I look at the Bloodline, Jay is your one star out of the Bloodline. Sammy, but Sammy already had kind of a following even before the Bloodline storyline. They really haven't produced the Judgment Day made brand new stars. Obviously, I think Jacob Fatu will be a star. But overall, I think the Judgment Day storyline right now, I'm way more curious to see what happens with Damian and Rhea and then Liv and Dom than I am with the Bloodline right now. Not that I'm not interested in the Bloodline, but the whole Judgment Day thing, I am all in on that. And I think the Liv Dom thing is just, I love every minute about it. And that's the difference between Vince and Tripp. If Vince is in charge, Rhea comes back and squashes Liv.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I 1,000% agree. 1,000% agree with Flash on that. That match does not go longer than 5 minutes if Vince is still in charge. Rhea destroys her, hits about 2 or 3 riptides, and we don't see Liv for 3 to 5 months. I mean, kayfabe puts her on the shelf if Vince remains in charge. Triple H is just, like I said, he's the man when it comes to the long-term storytelling. I will say this about the Bloodline though, where they're about with the Bloodline. Roman Reigns coming back was just the first little pawn piece. Now I think they're building up for Survivor Series. I think they're building. I said when I went on that live today, I said they're about to start building up for the Survivor Series Bloodline War Games match is what I think they're really about to start doing. And now you're about to start seeing the pieces fall in place. And I had someone comment on there, and he was like, "Come on, you really think?" He's like, "You really think they're gonna play this out for 3 months?" And I wanted to say, "Have you not seen how Triple H books? That's exactly what they're about to do. They're about to play this bad boy out. Yeah, this is exactly what they're about to do for the next 3 months. I think you're either going to see Roman versus Solo at Bad Blood, or you're going to see some form of tag team match. But I think it's ultimately going to lead up to Survivor Series. You're going to get an OG Bloodline versus New Bloodline War Games match. I mean, you got 2 War Games possibilities right there with the Judgment Day and the Bloodline. You got 2 War Games possibilities right there. I personally think it's going to be the Bloodline. I mean, I personally think it's going to be the Bloodline. I mean, if Trips is feeling froggy and thinks he can get War Games matches with both of these factions with the internal wars going on, if he thinks he can get 2, I think he will get 2. I think he can get 2. If he thinks he can get 2, I'm not going to doubt him. I'm not going to doubt him. I'm not going to doubt him at all.
Then you'd have a Raw War Games and SmackDown War Games.
Exactly right.
Both Joes would be represented, and I don't know how you don't the whole Judgment Day storyline is built for that too. So
true.
I don't know who they would add to the Rhea and Damian team yet.
I'm just playing.
I'm not quite sure yet, but that's where the trouble with booking that kind of comes in. But overall, in general, it's the storylines are built for that.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear what the leaked, supposed leak of what WrestleMania 41's goal is. It would be Cody versus Rock, and then Roman
Cody, Rock, and Roman and Solo.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
I don't think it's Roman Solo.
I think it's Roman Rock.
I think it's Roman Rock. Yeah,
I think it's Roman. I think it's Roman Rock.
Yeah, the only thing is they teased, like Rock teased Rock Cody at like when he left. So I think that's a possibility of Roman of that it's going to be Cody Rock at WrestleMania, and then for the first two nighter SummerSlam in 2026, 2025.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You do Roman Rock.
I think that'll be good.
No, I don't know. I personally don't think they miss out. I personally think they're not going to want to get an actual WrestleMania opportunity with Roman Reigns and The Rock. I don't think they're gonna. The only reason why, the only reason why, honestly, they didn't do it for WrestleMania 40 was because the fans wanted Cody Rhodes, and it was justified and it was understandable. However, WrestleMania 41, you have an established babyface Roman Reigns, you have an established heel Rock. I don't know if they're gonna and it's going to be, tribal chiefdom on the line for the match. I don't think you can miss another. I think you have to do it at WrestleMania. I argued that Roman and Rock. I hate people thought I was crazy. I argued it made more sense for the Elimination Chamber because of what the Elimination Chamber meant for Australia from the standpoint of drawing people to that event. Now, did the Elimination Chamber still do well as far as people watching it? Absolutely. But I felt like if you did Rock and Roman then, it would have drew even more eyes because the end game, I think, was still Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. I just feel like they took me away from that thinking, and they got me on the train. They got me on the bandwagon with the Rock going heel. They got me on the bandwagon for that. So
I love that.
That was
because I don't look, and this is kind of my point when I said like the Judgment Day is creating more stars. Like Solo's not there yet. He's not there yet. Where like I'm like, all right, dude, like you can't co-main event WrestleMania. Like you're not there yet. Now we got time. Like we got months upon months, and maybe that'll change. But I am just not sold on Solo yet as a bona fide star to co-host to co-main event WrestleMania against Roman Reigns. Like I don't see that.
I don't know. It depends. For me with Solo, it depends on how they book this up to that point because eventually Solo's gonna have to start beating people. The reason why a lot of people ain't really taking him seriously is because he's losing way too much. Now the Money in the Bank match, like the money in the Bank match, it helped, but then you turn around and you lose to Cody at SummerSlam. We all knew Cody was going to win that match, but I think at this point, I think at some point Solo has to start beating people. This is where I think Roman Reigns, being the guy that he is, he may put him over at some point, whether it's a big tag team match or if they just want to just throw them in a one-on-one before WrestleMania, because I don't think Roman and Solo is a WrestleMania match either. I don't think it is either.
I think it's
go ahead.
I
definitely think he's a bigger star. I agree with you there.
I think he has the potential to be a way bigger star. So I as long as the injury that depending on if it's an actual real injury or not, nobody really knows at this point. But I would be way more interested in a Jacob Fatu Roman Reigns match at WrestleMania than I would be a Roman Reigns and Solo match. Solo is just not like, you're right. He's not winning enough. He hasn't won enough. Like he beat Cena, and then after that,
goes on a losing streak.
To be honest with you, and first of all, before I go, shout out to PSP, man. Check out his pod tomorrow night at 9. When you have a heel like that, like Solo, I think he needs to be doing more than just beating people. He needs to be squashing some people.
Yeah.
Like he needs to. You need to have a few squash matches where he goes out and beats some guys, and I use that term loosely. And where he beats guys like literally less than 5 minutes. It's like, look, and I'm talking about completely dominates the match.
And they don't need to be jobbers either.
Yeah, they don't need to be jobbers. I'm talking about
It needs to
you
be
need to
some
put him
legit
with
match.
competent competition where he's actually just going out there saying, okay, this guy squashed. Okay, this guy squashed. I mean, put him in sort of a like how they did. Remember how they did with Mr. Kennedy over a long period of time? You know, in the first like 8 months, he beat 10 different world champions. And he was beating them by a wide margin. So, I mean, and he wasn't nearly as physically imposing as Solo is. So I think they need to do more than just have him beat guys. They need to put him in some squash matches where he's just squashing guys to make it believable that, okay, I think he can beat Roman Reigns.
Well, and the other part of it too, I think and Solo's kind of in a tricky spot right now because you obviously weren't going to have him take the title off Cody.
Right.
So it's hard. It's right now. It's hard to legitimize him because he's in a position right now. It's like somebody has to put him over, like whether it be Roman or Cody. Somebody does because you weren't able to. You're not going to put the title on him. Cody's not going to drop the title. Like I don't see him dropping the title for a while. Like I don't see anybody unless we do get a Rock, like Rock versus him and Rock does beat him and that sets up Roman versus Rock or we get Roman Cody 3. Like I don't see anybody beating Cody. Cody has ascended, and this is just from my experience based off, and this is why, when I'm in the comments section on Bleacher Report, and all the smart marks are complaining that Cody's reign has been boring, and I'm like, what are you watching? I his run with AJ Styles was phenomenal. So, and now we're continuing the bloodline storyline. Like Cody's been great, and I don't think I don't think people that complain about Cody, and it's just so, and there's always this is like the fickle wrestling fan that always is complaining about something. They're never happy.
Yeah,
I don't think people understand how over Cody is. Like Cody has ascended to Cena level in the aspect of like you can't turn him heel now because the kiddies love him too much.
Yeah,
but where I think Cody also benefits, where Cena didn't at one point, like the beginning of the end of the Ruthless Aggression era, beginning of the PG era, where Cody benefits more than Cena did. He's cool enough to have that 18 to 46, whatever that demographic is. He's cool enough that he's cool enough to where they're not booing him. And that's where he has his edge. There are no mixed reactions with Cody Rhodes. He's always getting one of the loudest main roster pops every time he's on the screen. And that's where I think Cody has a little bit of an edge of Cena at the time. The main demographic that WWE goes after, they're not booing him. They love Cody Rhodes because because all of his title matches have been really good to great. They've all been. And then his promo work, he's one of the better promo workers in the business, and he's not just like this. I mean, he can cut the cookie cutter baby face, rah, get you going promo. But when he has to cut somebody down,
he's good at it.
Cody Rhodes will cut you down in a promo if he has to. He's the for this era of wrestling right now. He's the top baby face we need. He can get the kids behind you, but if he has to cut a Rock promo where he has to pull like an LDS line out on you, he will. Yeah. And I think that's what separates him from a lot of other guys. He knows what he's doing, and that run in the Indies set him up for what he's doing right now. Homeboy's on top of his game right now. Flat out he is.
I posted a video on TikTok of my daughter and the whole 57,000 people. Like everybody is in unison singing his song. Like everybody at the same time. Like it's like I don't think people get it how over he really is. Like, like people are like, oh, like Roman is coming back is going to overshadow Cody. Like, no, like Cody is a bona fide star. Like, don't get me wrong, like Roman is Roman, but like Cody's got, they talk about the Roman aura or, Cody's got his own too.
Mm-hmm.
Cody does too. Cody, and you're right, BRF. Like he's able to do that cookie cutter, PG era type. If he wants to play it safe, he can. And when he first won the title, like the first month or two, he was kind of doing that, and then it seemed like they kind of switched a little bit, and like you need to, amp it up a little bit because if you do the cookie cutter stuff, people will start booing you. They'll get sick of it.
They will.
You can't be completely, as much as I love it, like you can't be Superman. You got to have a little Batman in it. You got to be a little bit of a dick. So
that's why when Cena that 2013 to 2015, 16, however long it was, when he went on that run and started getting a lot of those fans back, it was when he started destroying. It was when he really started destroying people in promos.
On the mic, yeah, and Cody's ability to do that is that's why I said I think the only people that are going to take that belt off of him would be, like I said, The Rock or Roman. I don't see anybody else right now that would even, or like unless it's like Punk or Seth.
I think he makes it to WrestleMania as champion, as far as I'm concerned. I think the earliest that there could be a threat of him losing it, I think he makes it to, at the very least, he makes it to the Royal Rumble. I think he's going to WrestleMania, to be honest with you.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think there's any doubt that he is a co-main event or the main event. Like whether it be if it's I absolutely he's your top baby face besides Roman. Like now here's what's cool. The WWE now has Austin Rock again. You have two massive baby faces that are so over now. Like that's awesome. They haven't had that for I can't even remember the Austin Rock. That's the last time I remember it. Like
and you got to put Hogan and Warrior in there as well, man. Got to get
Hogan and Warrior too. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. It's rare. I mean, it's just not to interrupt you, Flash. I'm sorry.
You're good. Go ahead.
But I have to say this, man. When you think about the generations that we have grown up in wrestling, it's always been two top baby faces that we had, and it's kind of hard to choose between them. When you had Hogan and the Warrior, it was like, damn, who do I choose? You had Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. Damn, who do I choose? The Rock, Stone Cold. Man, who do I choose?
It's go ahead. Sorry, champ.
So it's very, very hard to choose, man. And I think it's no coincidence that each generation has those two guys. It's just like it's very, very hard. Even when they turned heel, it's hard for them to choose. I mean, even doing the Montreal Screw Job, we had Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart. It was like, man, both of these guys are heels. People don't even recognize that both of them were heels. There was really no babyface in that match. Other than now, people would say Bret Hart was the babyface, but because he was in Canada. But in reality, they both were heels at the time.
Yeah,
so,
they were.
They both were heels, which was rare during that time anyway. It's just rare in wrestling for two heels to be going at it. So
it's hard. So my daughter is a huge Cody fan. Like, I mean, massive, like typical 6-year-old kid that loves wrestling. Although her taste in wrestling, in her favorite wrestlers, I got to give her props. Like she's not the typical cookie cutter kid. When it comes, she just likes all the baby faces. But she's a big Cody fan, and my favorite right now is Roman. But it's hard for me not to like Cody. Like it really is. Like it's not that I don't. It's not like I dislike him, but like it's hard not to get behind him. Like it's really hard to just be like like they are in a massively great spot. You have to like he's gonna have the title going into WrestleMania. I mean, you're gonna have the top two baby faces, him and Roman. co-main eventing. You can literally have night 1 like Cody and night 2 Roman, like co-main eventing like WrestleMania. Like, and then, man, the argument is, who do you have night 2? Because obviously night 2 is the bigger night of WrestleMania. Like, it's the official night of, I mean, like, but man, like, yeah, man, they're in such a great spot right now.
Yeah. Hey, going back to Solo before we go on to the next segment, the quickest way to put him over right now, the quickest way, old school bloodline, new school bloodline, do War Games, have him make the pin over Roman Reigns. That's the quickest way to put him over right now.
I think it's going to be either going to be Bad Blood or the Survivor Series pay-per-view. I agree with you. Solo's going over Roman at one of these pay-per-views.
Yeah.
He has to.
He has to.
He has to. He has to be, and they're going to have to do it in a way that, you know, you don't want to make it so obvious that Roman's putting over Solo so he can elevate him. Like, they're going to have to do it in a way where it doesn't take away. It sounds strange, but it just doesn't take away from Roman in a way. I'm really curious
how kind of like with Bret Hart and the Bulldog.
Yes, like they're going to have to figure out. I'm really curious how they're going to elevate Solo. I am. He's just not. One, he's got to get rid of those stupid gloves. Please get rid of those gloves. Every SmackDown I see him, and he's got those stupid gloves on. I hate the gloves. I don't know why. Get rid of the gloves. It makes you look stupid. Like, why are you wearing gloves with your suit? Just come out in a suit. Do the evolution thing. Come out in a suit. Be a badass. Put the gloves away. You're not like a driver. You look like just go.
Looking like the Lincoln lawyer.
Yeah, like get rid of the stupid gloves. I hate those stupid things. Every time he comes out on SmackDown, I'm like, get rid of those dumb gloves. Are you a limo driver? What the heck is going on? Come out, wear the suit. The suit looks great on him, and just be a badass. Don't like. Sorry for the cough. I apologize. I'm under the weather, but yeah, like I'm curious how they're going to elevate him.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
Hey, speaking of heels, man, look, one of the biggest heels in wrestling right now is Gunther, and y'all have heard me go on the record before. He's winning in ways that are very, very different from any other heel. Because we all know the contemporary heels. There's always interference in the matches. There's always some type of schmoz going on. Well, it's really not schmoz, but, you know, it's always some funny business going on. He's winning differently as a heel, with the exception of the match where he just won, where he got put over. But the thing is, leading up to that, it was always him going out beating guys definitively. He was out there beating guys without any outside interference. He was out there, beating them clean, which is rare for a heel. We haven't seen a heel beating people clean since arguably Yokozuna when he was champion. You know, he was out there, he was able to beat people clean. So, you know, so to speak, I would say, because, you know, Mr. Fuji was always lingering around a little bit. But the thing is, he was able to beat people clean. But with Gunther, he's able to go out there and beat guys clean. And not only that, puts on a wrestling clinic, because he's one of the best technicians in wrestling right about now, if you ask me humbly. Now, you guys can agree with me, can agree or disagree. I'd love to hear it. But the thing is, I have to ask this question. This is one of my little pipe bomb questions that I have. Is he on his way to being the greatest heel ever?
Not because I'm gonna tell you right now, Dom is an all-time heel at this point, is getting there. So
I ain't never seen a heel go from being a heel to being another heel. I've never seen that. And I've been watching wrestling a long time.
An established heel executing a heel turn.
How the hell did that happen? It's like, did you just turn heel while being a heel? It's like,
I think greatest heel of all time. Well, I think the greatest heel of all time isn't even a wrestler. The greatest heel of all time is Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
That's the greatest heel of all time. Everybody hates, and now really everybody hates Vince McMahon in real life. Everybody hates that dude now. But man, like, you got Jake the Snake, like Jake the Snake Roberts back in the 80s, man. He was a top tier heel, like, and he was beating people legit too. Rick Rude was really good. But
Yeah,
Gunther
gotta love the Rude Awakening.
Gunther is on I think he's kind of in a weird class on his own.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a heel, but he's not like Dom's a true heel. Dom's a classic heel. And I think Dom is going to be one of the greatest heels of all time because I think the way that, like we just said, like he pulled a double heel turn. Like that I don't even know how you do that. But Gunther is like this. He's like an evil Bret Hart. Like he's so good in the ring, like a master technician. But it's like if you took Bret Hart and made him, and I'm not talking about heel run Bret Hart, like when he was part of the Hart Foundation and the whole, Attitude Era Bret Hart. I'm really trying to, but yeah, like I'd say like an evil, like an arrogant heel-ish, like how Bret came out and said, I'm the best in the world. I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Gunther's that way too, but in a heel way.
Yeah. I never thought about that. That's damn.
So to me, it's like he's not a true heel. He's in a weird class on his own, where that's where I kind of think like he's kind of he's like a evil Bret Hart. Like I don't even say evil. I don't even know if evil's the right word, but just like an arrogant Bret Hart, like a real that comes across arrogant instead of the baby face. Like that's the best comparison that I can make on what he is. Because I don't think he's a true heel. I think he's a totally different animal. And I personally think that they're setting up Gunther versus Brock Lesnar for WrestleMania. I think that's the goal.
Ooh.
That was the goal last year before the whole
Take my money if they make that match happen. Take my money.
Can you? I mean, that was the goal last year.
Yeah, because Braun, and this year the Royal Rumble, Braun Breaker, that was supposed to be Brock Lesnar's spot.
Yep.
Everything Braun Breaker did, that was Brock Lesnar. That was he was supposed to be doing. So like Flash saying, that was supposed to be the Gunther Brock Lesnar setup for this year's WrestleMania. That's what was supposed to go down before the stuff went on with the McMahon stuff.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine a WrestleMania card like Cody versus whoever? Obviously, one is if it's going to be Seth versus CM Punk. That's going to happen this year.
Can I say what I would like to see, and then we will move on as far as Cody Rhodes' opponent for WrestleMania? And y'all might, I don't know if y'all will kill me for this. I feel like if you're going to do anybody, well, I guess it also depends on who wins the Rumble. Why not Cena?
Farewell.
Why not Cena?
Yeah. The passing of the torch from the
I get that. Why not Cena? I think it makes so much sense to give Cena that title shot against Cody Rhodes. I think it makes so much sense, but neither here nor there.
The only reason why I disagree is because I think they're going to do Cena Orton.
I would like that too, like a retire. But it depends on what they do. Well, yeah. Because I feel like Randy Orton's about to turn heel any moment now. We're just waiting.
Cena Cody Rhodes would be great.
Is it just me? Maybe it's just me as a fan. Randy Orton don't look right as a damn face to me. I'm just being real. It just don't feel right. It's just
He can do it.
What are you doing?
See, with Randy, he's a really good babyface when he's called upon that. His heel work is just legendary. And that's just what we know him best for.
It feel right to me, him being a heel. It's kind of like, it just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't have that. It was kind of like when Roddy Piper became a face back in WCW. It just doesn't feel right. It's like, where's that ruthless? I hate to say it like this. Where that ruthless shit at that we used to seeing? I want to see that when you go up against somebody. I don't want to see you walking in front of, giving your mic work all modest and stuff like that. I want to see that hardcore, I'm down, I'm going in for the kill every single day type Randy Orton. And it's just like, when he's a face, you don't see that. When he's a heel, it's like, that's what I want to see. It's like, and I hate to make a comic comparison. It's kind of like it's kind of like the Winter Soldier. When you saw him in Captain America Winter Soldier, you saw that ruthlessness. When you start seeing him later on down the line, it's like, I liked you better when you was a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how I feel about Randy Orton.
I agree.
I can't. I'm with you on that too.
No, Triple H was the same way back in the day. Like when he would have moments where he would come back and use a babyface for a little bit, like you're kind of, all right, this is cute and everything, but I need evil Trip. Like he's just better as a heel.
Yeah, he's just like, him being a heel is something. It's like, it's special. Arguably one of the greatest heels of all time. One of the greatest heels of all time, because he is just diabolical. It's like, Randy Orton is the only heel I ever looked at and said, I cannot believe you just did that.
Edge.
Yeah, and Edge. Those are two guys where you just say, did he just do that? Did he really just do that? It's just like, sometimes it just made me, even as a grown man, I was like, look, let me turn off this TV before I get upset. Because that wasn't even that was uncalled for, in my humble opinion. But as far as Gunther is concerned, I think he's gonna, I like that comparison that Flash gave earlier, being an evil Bret Hart, because he is a pure technician. But I can't wait to see how far he's gonna go, man. Like I said, he's doing it a lot different. He's beating people clean, and it's making it a lot better. It's like, because I'm not used to seeing heels beat guys clean. You used to seeing all the funny business in the ring, but seeing him beat guys clean like that outside of the world title match that he just won over in, I think that's special. And I think if they keep that up, he'll be sort of the clean version of like John Bradshaw Layfield, how he was doing his heel run.
Yeah, I think that I prefer it when heels win clean mostly. I think it makes them a better character when they can win clean. Like on like for instance, like I think the biggest mistake, one of the biggest mistakes that Vince made with Bray Wyatt was Bray Wyatt should have came in wrecking shop and beating people clean. Like when the Undertaker debuted, he was beating people clean. Like, except for when he beat Hogan with the chair. But the only reason they did that spot was because Hogan's a little bitch. That's why. But like, I like it when my heels can win clean. I need them to be able, because then they're not a credible threat. I want my I want Thanos as a heel. I want him to be able to brush people aside, because I need the hero to come and like overcome the heel, or the bad guy. Like, so I like it when heels can win clean. I don't need it all the time, but it's like, I always thought Roman, like the last year or so, when he wasn't winning clean, it was, I get why they were doing it for the story purposes, but it was like, it's way better when he was just winning clean, because it's like, oh, he's so good that you can't beat him, which is kind of like with Gunther. He's so good you can't beat him, and it's So I hope we get Brock versus Gunther at WrestleMania. I want that so bad.
Hey, that's big money if I ever seen it. But look, we got to go into this next segment, man. Hey, look, man, look. All of us been around the block quite a few times. We all know that girl that your mom always told you to stay away from. She gonna be the death of you. We all know that one girl that mom said, "Hey, I know she's fine, but you better stay away." And the WWE has that in Liv Morgan. So I have to ask this question, man. Is Liv Morgan the Harley Quinn of the WWE?
That is one of the greatest. That is one of the greatest comparisons I've heard in a long, long time. No, I was watching this TikTok clip earlier before I left, and it was like and it was a podcast. These three guys, and I followed them just off of this clip alone because it was hilarious. They basically said Liv Morgan is that Liv Morgan. I'm trying not to. I don't want to be too like I don't know. But okay, it was three. Basically, okay, it was three black guys. I'm trying. Basically, what they said was, Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan is the type of white girl you bring to the cookout and you have to defend to your mama.
What's so funny? It
was just how they said it because it was just so funny. It was just so funny. It was just so funny to me. But no, like. But for real, no.
I'm called a Harley, but that's a whole.
Oh my bro, like no, like it caught my attention. I was like, damn, you know what? They're not wrong. Liv Morgan is like, I like that being the Harley Quinn of WWE because she's got like this. Well, it's just recently though, but like this new character, it's like she's in the comfort zone. Like she has this on and off switch of like she's got like her normal side, and then she has like her just perverse diabolical side. Like I'm like, okay, who are you and what have you done with the Liv Morgan that we've seen the last 2 or 3 years, and why do I believe you more as a credible threat now than I have before? And I mean, it's something that she needed a change in her character, and this storyline has just done absolute wonders for her. And right now you could that's a good comparison because she's like that for real, like she's that girl you take home to your folks and you just like, look, she don't seem like the type she might not seem like the type you like, but she's all right with me. So I mean, like she's just
She's that girl, like have you guys seen the meme where it's like where the mom goes like, is talking to her sons like, what did you see in that girl when you were with her? And then it shows some like explicit like thing or whatever. Like that's Liv Morgan.
Yeah, so they show the man from the History Channel doing like this.
Yeah,
she's had a lot of internet breaking moments as of late. Like she really has.
Dude, so I got a buddy that hates Liv Morgan. It is a huge wrestling fan. Like it just can't stand her. Like thinks she's trash. Like doesn't whatever. And I just like, dude, like I don't know what. Like she's awesome. Like her. Now I agree. Like her character up until this has been kind of like,
man, it's been bland.
Yeah, because she was like smiley but trying to act all psycho, and it's just like, are you a baby face? Are you a heel? What are you? Like, what are you doing? Like, are you what are you? Like, she come and act all weird, but then like slapping hands with kids, and you're like, okay, what? What is it that you're trying to accomplish here? With this storyline where she's been able to play the femme fatale, like Harley Quinn, where. Harley Quinn is also kind of a baby face and a heel. Everybody loves Harley Quinn. And I'm going to tell you right now, I was at SummerSlam, and everybody, this is the thing that I was arguing too, when everybody's like, I was arguing with my friend, like, Rhea's going to come back, or Rhea's going to come back and just squash her. And I go, no, I don't think you know how over Liv is. I said, I was at SummerSlam this past weekend, and there were chants going back and forth. It was like, let's go Rhea, let's go Liv. Like, that crowd was split.
Mm-hmm.
People love Liv.
Yeah.
Like, she is over. People are loving and eating up this storyline. It's so weird, too, because all the heat's going towards Dom.
I mean, if
Liv's
you really
not-
look at it, it's kind of like, look, I've been saying this a whole bunch of times. It's kind of like a repeat of the Attitude Era. Like, yeah, that's why, especially in this women's division, because if you really look back at it, people are always going to compare it to Eddie Guerrero and China, right?
This is not Eddie Guerrero. I can tell you
but-
exactly what this is. This is not Eddie Guerrero in China. I can tell you exactly what this is.
But
If you want to make a no, I'll let you finish, champ. But I'll tell you what this reminds me of. You go ahead.
But it kind of reminds me of when Mark Merrow, when he brought Jacqueline in to try to replace Sable. That's what it kind of reminds me of a little bit. Because remember, Mark Merrow got all the heat on that one. Everybody was like looking at Jackie kind of sideways. But at the end of the day, everything pointed back to Mark Merrow. I know Mark Merrow wasn't over enough in order to be looked at that way, but that's how I look at it at this point in time. But go ahead. My bad, guy.
No, actually, I like that comparison. I like that as an attitude comparison. This is the reverse Edge leader.
Ooh.
This is the reverse. This is the reverse Edge. This is the reverse Edge leader. And I tell you why. If you go back to the Edge leader storyline, Kane basically took a hold of Lita the same way Rhea technically did to Dom. And then after a while, he kind of like, whether it was through like a brainwashing or just like they grew closer. They grew close, and it kind of grew to where like, okay, they're cool with each other. You know, Lita with Kane. Lita started to stand them a little bit. It was okay with her. Rhea and Dom, the my Latino heat, the mommy, all that, and then you get like this new kind of like shiny toy, or this new hot thing that comes out of nowhere with, in this case with Edge. I mean, with their storylines for obvious reasons, but I mean, you had Edge come out, and then with this situation, you have Liv put herself in the picture, and then at the end, you get the big payoff with Lita turning on Kane, joining with Edge, Dom turning on Rhea, going with Liv Morgan. This is like the reverse Edge and Lita, and the storyline has a lot of similarities with each other. Now, with that Lita storyline, I mean, it was, if you know the story, you know why they went with that, why Vince McMahon went that way. But I mean, you saw what that ultimately turned into. It turned into like a real life hatred on screen, and they got big matches out of it. But I mean, there's similarities with the storyline. So this is more the reverse Edge and Lita. And I heard that, and I'm like, you know what, bro? I heard this on a TikTok. I'm like, you know what? I like your thinking. This is reverse Edge Lita for me. So that's how I feel.
Okay. Flash, you got anything to add to that?
No, I think that's a great comparison. Like, that's a great comparison. Like, I can't really think of another. Like, I'm kind of going through heel couples right now, and
there's nothing else that really checks all the boxes. Like each one of those with each other, almost like every single box that the Edge and Lita storyline checked off, Rhea, Dom, Liv checks off the exact same boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I don't like, and they're kind of unique in a way too. But I think that's the closest comparison, because like you can think of like AJ Lee and Dolph Ziggler.
No.
It checks some of the boxes. It checked a couple of the boxes.
AJ Lee and Liv, that aspect, yes. I think
Yes,
that,
you're right, exactly.
but Dolph and Dom are completely different heels. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
even though Dom is very capable in the ring, like Dom
He's gotten so much. He's gotten so much better.
I'll put it this way: Dom is viewed as the sub in both relationships. He's not the dom. For those children watching, please don't look that up on the internet.
Please,
I'm so done. All right, next segment.
Next. Next.
In the great words, of myself,
he's not wrong though.
I mean,
not wrong. I didn't know how else to really describe it. Like,
I mean, if you really want to be honest, who could blame him? But I digress.
you can scold
Flash,
me later.
Flash, that's why I love you, bro. That's why I love you, bro.
Oh man,
it's the fever talking, dude. I'm sorry. It's just
it's all good. But hey, man, you gotta throw something in there, man. We gotta put our personality in there. That's all we make.
Hey, this is what the big three do week in and week out. We kill this stuff.
Hey, another comparison that you might want to make with Liv as well, but she wasn't as easy on the eyes as Liv. Luna Vachon. Remember, she was wacky with her character as well. So got to give the Pioneer a lot of credit because that character right there was for her to be as she was, but had that wrestling family savvy and had that technical background. That was one that you could compare to as well. Like I said, she wasn't as easy on the eyes as Liv, but Luna Vachon was definitely one of those one of those wrestlers, those women's wrestlers that could really just that you could really say, "Ooh, okay." But you know what? We had a long talk last week about families in wrestling. We had to talk about the bloodline. We had to talk about the Flair. We had to talk about Ric Flair's family. We had to talk about the Rhodes. We had to talk about a lot of families. But there is one wrestler that came from one of the most impactful families that was in WCW. And I'm talking about Braun Breaker. So my question is Braun more talented than Rick and Scott? I'm going to go first in this one. I think he has the potential to be better than both of them. Because the thing is, I believe Scott Steiner was at his best when he was in the Steiner Brothers, as far as in-ring ability is concerned. That's what I believe. As you start, he looked kind of stiff when you put him in the heavyweight division as he became a solo star. He looked kind of stiff. And when you really look at Rick, no disrespect to Rick Steiner, because I used to love, going outside doing PE, acting like the dog faced gremlin. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Everybody used to love doing that. But I don't think he was ever over to a point where, Scott was. So I think that he has the potential. I think he's right now a little bit more talented than both of them. I really feel like that Scott was kind of stiff in the ring, and Rick was never really kind of as over as I would have liked him to be. I really think that they were at their best with each other. The Steiner brothers were. I don't really think, although Scott Steiner was the world heavyweight champion in WCW, it never really looked. I never really looked at it and said, you know what? That's how I want the world champion to be. It was always the same promos, the same rudimentary type of thing. It's like, I heard this last week, man. Like, when you go switch it up, And that's why I say he's more talented than both of them. But what says you guys, man?
All right. I'm gonna start. So I didn't see Braun's run in NXT. So right
now, I did, but I'll let you go ahead.
So please take with what I'm about to say with a grain of salt. Right now, I'm not really high on Braun, but from what hold up, from what I was told, because I'm like, man, like they just kind of put the title on him. They just went over on Sammy, yada yada yada, and I'm like, I just don't see it. like yet. I'm just like, oh yeah, another Goldberg with a spear. Woo.
I'll let you finish, but
I haven't seen I didn't see his NXT run when apparently he did a full babyface run. So now, so I don't know if this is an accurate thing to say. So correct me if I'm wrong, please. Scott Steiner, yes, when he was with the Steiner brothers, like you go back and watch their matches, like when they were the Steiner brothers, some of the stuff they were doing athletically was insane.
yes.
So, and then Scott, I'd say his initial solo runs, he was still Scott.
I'll let you know.
The problem is in-ring ability, I think he's comparable, and I think he will be comparable. And I think he'll surpass that. But Scott Steiner's mic skills, I don't know if he'll get to Scott Steiner's mic skills. Scott Steiner's mic skills were, go back and watch his promos. Like, he was legit on the mic. So in that aspect, I need to see more from Braun when it comes to his mic skills and personality. Like right now, to me, the way that I look at Braun, I just go, all right, you're just another dude with an aggressive spear. Woot. So again, I didn't see the NXT run. So I don't know what he's capable of yet. So I'm curious to see how this goes. So do I think he'll be more talented? Maybe. Scott was legit. Like, as much as I think what ruins Scott's reputation is his run in WWE when he came in with Trick and how bad that went. I think that ruins his overall, like, I think his run in WWE ruins his whole, like, how everybody looks at his career and how talented he was. And how he was at some point. Or at one point. Like, Scott Steiner was really over at one point. Like, it was a huge deal when he came over into WWE finally. And that run was so bad that, unfortunately, like, everybody just kind of remembers that aspect of his career. And they don't remember everything else.
Yeah. I feel that. BRF. Oh, my bad. Flash. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, you're good. No, that's all I had to say.
Oh, my bad. BRF, what do you think?
Braun Breaker is Steiner Brothers Scott with more athleticism and speed. I mean, imagine if just imagine Scott Steiner, his athleticism, but multiply by like 5. Because Braun Breaker is the truth. He is. You have to watch his NXT. You have to watch his NXT run. You have to watch his NXT matches. And I mean, yeah, he went on a full on babyface run, but you have to watch his NXT matches. The dude's legit. I think he's every bit of legit. I think he's already way more talented than both of them as far as in ring. I agree as far as the mic skills, but then again, when you hear Braun, you hear Scott. When you hear him talk, you hear Scott Steiner. Like, there's one, like the first promo he cut in NXT where they went the 2.0 mode, but they were kind of going to being a little more edgy still. And the first promo he cut, I mean, I'm talking about it was almost like they just said, go out there, be yourself. And I swear you heard like another Scott Steiner on the mic, as far as like not just how he sounded, but some of the stuff that came out of his mouth. You were like, they letting you say this on TV? Like you have to go back and watch the first promo he cut in NXT. But no, he's way more than Goldberg. He's way more than Goldberg with a spear, because he's already a really good seller. I mean, he understands. I think he understands mat work already to still be kind of green as he is. He kind of understands like some of the psychology and the mat work and the ring and the ropes and just he understands stuff already at a far advanced level than some people would in the same tier and category as him because he hasn't been doing this that long. Let's just keep it a buck. He ain't been doing it as long. I think with the right, I think if he stays on this trajectory, as long as he just kind of keeps the work ethic he maintained, because I think he deserved the Intercontinental Championship. I think as much as I love Sami Zayn, I think his run had kind of ran his course a little bit. But that I blame the fans for that because the fans are fickle as crap. I blame the fans for that because it's like I'm hearing like Sammy Hogan and all this stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, bro, y'all were literally wanting this man to beat Roman at the Elimination Chamber. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? So, but I feel like I kind of had a feeling Braun was going to get the IC title at some point, and I kind of understood why they wanted to save it for a spot like SummerSlam because from what I understand, that was what like the 17th or 18th Intercontinental title change in the history of that event. So I mean, it was kind of if you're going to do it anywhere, do it at a SummerSlam. So, but no, I think the sky's the limit for him. I really do. And man, hey, don't get me wrong. And the thing is with Scott though, I don't necessarily think he had the greatest mic skills in the world. What set Scott Steiner apart was that he would just say things that nobody had the guts to say. And we just remember a lot of the promos he said because he would just say stuff a lot of people either wouldn't say, like basically might have been thinking, but they just didn't have the guts to say it. Like that infamous promo he cut on Ric Flair, that one WCW Thunder, where he basically called him everything but a child of God. Of course, the Steiner math one, 141 and 2/3% chance of winning that match. It still lives to this day as one of the greatest promos I've ever heard. I don't think it was necessarily the mic. Like, was he? I mean, he wasn't like just the, he wasn't going to enunciate everything correctly. I just think with Scott Steiner, you just remember him because he just said stuff nobody else was going to say. And I think that's why we love his mic skills so much. I think Braun has decent enough mic skills where I think he's going to get better. I think he's going to get better there, but I think he's got decent enough mic skills. He can hold his own on the mic. But yeah, go back and watch his NXT run, not the first NXT championship, because the first NXT championship run wasn't that long. So you have to watch the second NXT championship run after he beat Dolph Ziggler on that Monday Night Raw for. Watch that run. I'm telling you, Braun Breaker is the real deal. And like guys like him and Carmelo Hayes, those two for me are going to be the flag bearers. Like once Roman's really not on TV that much, like when Cena's fully gone, when Orton's fully gone, Braun Breaker and Melo, I feel like are going to be the next, or I feel like are the next two up. That's honest to God how I feel. I think Braun Breaker, I think the sky's the limit for him because he's way more than Goldberg with the spear. I mean, the dude is legit in so many ways. His speed, his athleticism. I mean, one of the coolest things I've seen recently is that Braun cam, where he's like that spear he did on Ludwig Kaiser is one of the coolest images I've ever seen. Where it's like I think Ludwig Kaiser's beating up on Sheamus, and he's about to do that running drop kick that he does in the steps. Yeah. Braun Breaker's ticked because Kaiser cost him the match. So Kaiser gets a head start. Braun Breaker takes off the complete other side and literally meets him head on, and like one of the nastiest spears I've ever seen. I think he's going to be like. I just feel like he's way more than Goldberg with a spear. I think he's the real deal because, like I said, you got to watch his second NXT Championship run and some of the matches he was putting on. Like I'm telling you, I think he's a stud. I think he's legit.
Okay, all right.
Anything you want to add, Flash?
No, that's something I got to check out then.
Yeah, check. Yeah, like I said, it's the second NXT title run after he beat Dolph Ziggler on that Raw. I'm telling you, some of the matches he was putting on some matches.
Okay.
I have to ask this question, man. Look, man, I always throw a pipe bomb in the segment because, like I said, we're never gonna have a smooth show as long as I'm breathing in and out. But the thing is, do you think? And I have to ask this: do you think that Sami Zayn, the reason why his reign did not last, is because he never could expand his character outside of being the underdog?
I think he was starting to, but at that point, the fans had already hit their kind of fickle mode on him and were starting to get tired of him. But I think he was kind of starting to a little bit because he cut that one promo where he was talking about he finally just came out and said it. I've been the underdog for so long, but I am not the underdog. I'm one of the best wrestlers in the world. And I think at that point, the fans were just like, I mean, okay, it's about time. But the fans wanted Braun Breaker at that point. I think it was a little late. But I think it's a shame, though, because Sami Zayn is legit still one of the best wrestlers in the world. And that's a lot of the reason why fans kind of get on my nerves is like they could just switch up at the drop of a dime. And I mean, I guess it's understandable. I mean, it's understandable. I mean, it's the product. I get it. But
it's real silly though. Like, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Going into WrestleMania 40, everybody was bitching about Roman Reigns. Oh, he's just a part-timer and he never defends the title and blah, 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 blah. And then 10 seconds after he left, we want Roman. It's like, guys, like.
He even said it himself in the promo that was going to happen.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It's so stupid. It's just like to your point, Champ, though, I think you're right because the way that he's always been portrayed is like the little brother. Look at him in the Bloodline. Look at him with Kevin Owens. Like he's always kind of the little brother. And I don't know how he shakes that. And as much as I completely agree, like he's one of the best in the world. Like I love he's one of my favorite wrestlers to watch. I love watching him wrestle.
Yeah.
But he's always the little brother. He is the underdog. He's the Mikey Whipwreck with more talent, like way more talent, way more talent.
Way more talent.
Yeah, like I'm just but Mikey Whipwreck was always the underdog. Like that was his thing. So I think that's kind of the problem. I disagreed with taking it off Sammy this early and giving it to Braun Breaker. Like I would have liked to see them like kind of flesh out Braun a little bit more before putting a title on him. Now I have friends telling me that putting the title on Braun right now actually helps him a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I guess, but I don't know. Sammy, I wanted to see more feuds with Sammy. The problem is I don't know who you put him in a feud with. The Intercontinental title right now is the problem with the Intercontinental title is the Intercontinental title is being used now to elevate somebody. And Sammy's as high as he's going to go. And so it's going to be weird. It's weird having the Intercontinental title on him because we just saw him in a championship match against Roman Reigns where technically he should have won. The reason Sammy didn't win is because the Bloodline helped him. So for him to take a step back, it's kind of like a consolation prize with the Intercontinental title. So it's like this is weird, like, yay, Sammy got a title, but then it's kind of like, all right, now what do we do with him? And he can put on great matches, but it's like, what kind of story, what kind of prolonged story? Here's the other part of it too. I think they're also freeing him up for the upcoming, Bloodline.
They're freeing him up for the Bloodline stuff.
Yeah. So like you had to take it off of him. Like I think that's part of it. So like I get that aspect, but I think Champ, you're right. I think he's always to him to elevate him to a different level, he would have needed to beat Roman.
Yeah.
to not be the little brother anymore. I think that's the problem. I think that's my opinion. Honestly, I think he just needs to start cutting more promos where he just starts recognizing how damn good he is. I think that's what he needs to start. He needs to start cutting more promos like he did a couple of Mondays ago, where he kind of talked about himself like, okay, Braun's treat me like the underdog. No, I'm not the underdog. He needs to start cutting more promos like that. He just needs to start cutting more promos like that. And then going out and keep putting on banger matches and keep going out and beating people. I think he can shake it. I think that's one of the things we don't talk about with Sammy enough. As good as he is in the ring, his mic work is good. He's a good talk. He's a really good talker. So I mean, he's a really good talker. So I think he needs to cut more promos where they just like say, "Hey, no, I mean, okay, I get it. I'm the underdog from the underground. I get that. No, I'm one of the best wrestlers in the world. I'm gonna start telling people, and I'm gonna start making them believe it. I think he needs to start cutting more promos like that. I think they need to start letting him cut more promos like that. I think he can shake it.
Do you think he needs a heel run?
At this point, I wouldn't do it. I don't think you can with him right now because I think the fans still want. I know you got those select fans that did the Sammy Hogan and all that other stuff. Nah, I don't think you do that with him yet. Because my thing is, I don't know who you're gonna put him in a feud with if you turn him back.
Not right now. He needs to finish out the bloodline stuff and everything else. But I do think that he needs to kind of go on a Drew McIntyre heel run, where like I'm not appreciated, I'm not this, I'm not that. You all need to respect me, yada yada yada. Like he kind of needs to go on that kind of run and do like a heel run in that aspect to kind of elevate him.
But I think that Master Strategist run was kind of like that though. It's just that I don't know.
Well, okay,
but it was kind of like that though.
Okay, so to kind of climb on what Champ said about how he's always the underdog, did that Master Strategist run get ruined by his comedy stint in the Bloodline?
Ruined? Nah. I think people. No, I don't think it did. I think people saw him in the Bloodline stuff, especially when it got serious. I think people kind of started to really see, like, hey, kind of forgot about Sammy a little bit.
There's something about him, and maybe it's his look, where he just is the little brother. He kind of looks like you just like he has that look where you just kind of want to go like, oh, it's okay, dude, don't worry about it. You pat him on the head, like he has that look to him,
like Eugene.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. He looks like literally a redheaded bearded Eugene.
Yeah. The thing is, with Sammy, your character has to evolve. My thing is this. That's the reason why people were kind of like fickle on Cody at the beginning because of those cookie cutter. I'm still the underdog. Everybody's still counting me out. That's how come he had to evolve. And when you don't evolve, you die in the wrestling industry. You can't be the underdog forever. I mean, even with us, hell, we're the underdogs right now, hell. But once we reach that status, we can't keep doing the same stuff that we do when we were the underdog. Now you the big dog. Now you got it. Now instead of eating kibbles and bits, now you got to eat a steak.
Yeah.
Now you got to eat that big steak and digest it. Not just eat it, but digest it. And that's why I think that it went wrong yet. I mean, yeah, we all recognize that you're the underdog. You overcame, but guess what? Now you have the Intercontinental title in your hand. What are you going to do with it? And I don't think that his character evolved enough. It's like, okay, you're the underdog. Now you're trying to be a big dog. Okay, now let's see what you can do. And I don't think he ever got past that underdog situation. And like you said, Flash. Oh, my bad. BRM, go ahead.
No. The only thing I was going to say was if you do a heel run with Sammy, it better be in a World Heavyweight Championship program. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. He's gotta be like he needs to be in a feud with like Seth or CM Punk, where it's centered around the world title, something like that. Where because I just don't, like I said, I love Sammy. I do. He's one of my favorites. You're right. His character hasn't evolved enough. Like that's the thing with the Bloodline storyline. It's like, I think that's why everybody wanted him to beat Roman, was because you wanted to see that character evolve. And when actuality, it's like, I get like, trust me, that I wanted him to beat Roman. I was one of those like, why didn't he beat Roman? Not really thinking about it on how they're trying to elevate Cody to what he is now. But Sammy, unfortunately, he's not. If we're talking about him being the guy, he's not that.
No.
He's not the guy. He will never be the guy. But I do think but I do think he does need like a heel run, and I think you're right, BRF. I do think he needs a heel run around a world title because I don't. Yeah, he just always, like I said, anytime even when he teamed with Kevin Owens and like back with him to beat the Usos, he always just seems like the little brother.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a problem.
Yeah. In the great words of the great Jim Cornette, sometimes you can be a guy, you can't necessarily be the guy.
Yeah.
And we'll leave it on that. Now, let's get to the nitty-gritty. We all seen some of the best returns, arguably, in WWE history. We up there. We grown. I'm gonna just put it this way: we grown men doing this podcast. We all the three of us, we grown men. We've been around the block once or twice with this wrestling thing. We've seen it all. So I'm gonna throw in this segment along with a pipe bomb. So, what is your thoughts on Roman Reigns, the return of the real tribal chief? And is it up there with some of the greatest returns in wrestling history? Y'all have the floor.
I have
mine too. You want
go ahead.
Like if we're talking greatest returns of all time, you got 02 Triple H, you have 08 Cena at the Royal Rumble. You got 2019 Roman coming back from leukemia. Undertaker, like the Undertaker returns, like you got the Undertaker return as the American Badass, and then you got him coming back with the second Dead Man run. Edge coming, like the Edge return in 2020. The Edge return in 2020.
CM Punk.
Yeah. Oh God, CM Punk in 2023. My gosh. That pop he got in Chicago. I mean, trust me, it's Chicago. He's gonna get that pop, but he would have got that pop anywhere coming back at a WWE event where nobody thought that was gonna happen. Oh yeah, you got most definitely. Even I don't think it's Roman's best. I don't think it's Roman's best return. I think it's because I still think it's behind his 2019 return coming back from leukemia. I think this was better than his 2020. I think it's better than his 2020 return, but I don't think it's as good as his 2019 return. I guess as far as the significance behind it, but it was really good for me because I felt like that last Solo Sikoa promo kind of sealed it for me as far as like him coming back. I kind of felt like it was going to happen after that. I think the greatest returns for me are probably Triple H in 02 when he came back from the first quad tear, 2020 Edge, the 9-year layoff, and then 08 Cena, like the injury that was supposed to put him out for. I think they're supposed to put him out for 8 months, and he came back in like 4 and half time. So, Sean in 02. Yeah, Sean. Yeah, Sean in 02. The SummerSlam No Shakes match, that's up there too. But yeah, I don't. As far as the greatest of greatest returns, it's not up there. But as far as like, it was a really good return as far as like how it was executed. But as far as like one of the greatest returns of all time, I can give you, we could probably give you like 4, 5, maybe 6 all time that were better than this one. Maybe more, just depending on like the character and the situation. It was a really good return, but I'm not one of the greatest of all time. I can't say that.
Hey, before we get to you, Flash, let's not forget the Big Show's return on SmackDown back in 2004, when he literally came back and beat the whole roster for his return.
True,
that was one of the greatest returns of all time. So, I mean, I know the Big Show kind of gets lost in the shuffle in a lot of things because, how he's been used throughout his career. But when he came back, I think it was SmackDown September 9th, 2010. When he came back and literally beat the entire roster on SmackDown, that was one of the greatest returns, arguably ever. But excuse me, Flash, you have the floor, brother. My bad.
I think the greatest two returns ever are Edge at the Royal Rumble and CM Punk, and I don't think those two will ever be topped. Edge's was so emotional because of his retirement, and we never thought we would see it. And they did a really great job of hiding that too, that it was going to happen. Like there were rumors, but like everybody's like, dude, no, like his neck was broken. Like his neck was been fused. Like there's no way. So like when he actually did come out, and the rumors were really light too. It wasn't like, it wasn't like Dave Meltzer or anybody like that was reporting this. Like it was like random like blogs on Reddit that were saying stuff like that. And then the Punk thing was the Punk thing. Like the Punk thing was that was unreal. So is this Roman return up there? No, I don't think it sniffs the top 5. I think Tripp's return is way better. I think Shawn's return is better. Punk's return, Edge's return, Cena's return.
Brock Lesnar and Brock Lesnar 2012 was better.
Yeah. Lesnar's return. The times when The Rock has come back randomly, like
the WrestleMania 27 one where he was announced as the host. Yes, sir.
The Hardys showing up at WrestleMania a couple years ago.
Yeah, WrestleMania 33 in Orlando.
Part of the reason is because I think everybody expected this return. So it's like, and this has been an ongoing storyline for a couple of years. So it's not like we didn't think Roman was ever going to come back. Like we knew Roman was going to come back. So it just kind of was a matter of when. So now my thoughts on this return in general, and I'm probably going to catch some heat for this, is I didn't like the return. And here's the reason why. I didn't want Roman to come back this soon. I wanted Roman to be the last piece of the puzzle to this. You call on Superman when you can't handle everything. So, like, I wanted Jimmy to come back first. And then Sammy gets pulled into it. And then basically the new version of the bloodline is just too much for, all the minor players of the old bloodline. That then Roman makes his triumphant return. That's how I wanted this storyline to play out. So me personally, like, also I wasn't a fan of the music. His I think they used the WrestleMania theme.
It's the WrestleMania 40, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that theme. I like the Tribal Chief theme. That theme song hits something different. I
think me personally, I think they could have just added lyrics to the OG song, and it would have done it. If they added lyrics to kind of give it more of a babyface feel, then yeah, I think that would have been just fine. I think the orchestral theme is cool. I like it, but me personally, they should have just kept the OG beat, put some lyrics on there, done.
They call it a day. Yeah,
call it a day.
I'm actually kind of surprised, and I think there was some pressure to bring Roman back because it is SummerSlam. Now, again, I'm just speculating. I could be completely wrong, 100%, whatever. And we also don't know. I don't know if Jimmy is hurt or whatever.
He's cleared. They're just trying to find. I think they're trying to find the right time to bring him back. He's been cleared.
I'm surprised, knowing the way Tripp books, that they would have brought Roman back first. And not Jimmy, then rope in Sammy, and then have Jimmy kind of rope Jay back in. And then they just get overwhelmed. And like I said, that's when you call him the big dog.
I think the way Triple H books, me personally, I think the way Triple H books, I think bringing Roman back first actually makes more sense now that I think about it. Because now you're going to play the long game of Roman having to basically repent for everything he's done. I think this is actually going to play out better because now Roman has to repent for everything he's done, for everybody basically everybody he's ran off, because he was just this end all be all paranoid. Acknowledge me. I think this actually works out better. I think this is going to play better in the Triple H booking scheme because now he's got to repent for everything he's done, whether he wants to or not, and he's got to draw them back one by one. I think it plays out better bringing him back first.
That's a good point. So now he's got to go recruit everybody.
He's got to recruit. Exactly. He's got to go. Yes.
Everybody's going to be like, why should I trust you?
Exactly.
Kind of like when Stone Cold had to recruit everybody for his team back in Survivor Series 2003.
When he was fighting for his GM job. Yes. Bingo.
You know what, man? This is why I haven't said too much during the show. These two guys have been cooking all night long. I just been sitting over here eating, man. And look, I like I said, it's always a privilege and a pleasure and an honor to share the stage with y'all too, because man, y'all have been cooking all night long. I'm going to be clipping the hell out of this show. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, hey man, gotta give credit to BRF and Flash. This was y'all's idea to do the SummerSlam recap show, man. And quite frankly, hey, y'all have killed it this entire show, man. I mean, I gotta give credit where credit is due. This was amazing. But I do have to finish the show with one question. Do y'all like the fact that we have moved away from the traditional Survivor Series match into War Games? Or would you rather bring back the traditional Survivor Series match?
No, they do not have to. I love that they've adapted the War Games match. They do not have to bring it back for me. As much as I did enjoy the traditional Survivor Series match, War Games it's honoring Dusty Rhodes, which I am all for, giving Dusty Rhodes his flowers. And the fact, and just honoring the idea that he came up with this concept. NXT bringing it in first, which I thought was amazing. William Regal, War Games, William Regal, when he was the NXT GM, it's one of the best. When you knew that was coming, I was like, yes, I'm trying to watch that takeover. I'm watching it. And all those War Games matches in NXT, every single one of them hit. So when I heard that Survivor Series was adapting that idea, I was like, yeah, sign me up. I am a big War Games match. I love that match. It's one of my favorite concept matches in all of professional wrestling. So much that AEW stole it, but that's a conversation for neither here nor there. But but yes, if that
I'm sorry.
I don't want to throw no shade for AEW because their blood and guts matches have all hit too, so I can't throw shade. They've all had good matches like that. Huh?
I said I'll throw a lot of shade at them.
I'll give them this. All of their blood and guts matches have all been really, really good. But let me tell you something. For me, they do not have to go back to the traditional Survivor Series matches. They can do the War Games matches as long as they want, because I love the concept. I hope it stays. Keep this concept for Survivor Series. I love it. I hope they keep it.
There is a part of me, like, and it's just old me, nostalgic me, that like would love the old school Survivor Series, but no, War Games is it. War Games is just, it's way better. It's just a way better, it's especially with the way Tripp is the way he is with booking factions and the way he likes factions more to elevate stars. It just works better. The match is more interesting. At least now it is. I do think that the problem was with when it came to the original Survivor Series format, Vince got really lazy and didn't want to because they just didn't want to do interesting. I can't remember the last interesting old school Survivor Series I'd have to go back and watch. Like right now, I'm actually going through. I just started the Attitude Era on Monday Night Raw, and I'm just kind of, because I've been sick, I'm just watching those. And
Well,
just kinda like,
I'll say this though. 2019 was pretty lit. When it was Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, 2019 was lit. Everything was triple threat.
Okay.
Everything was a triple threat style. And then they had the triple threat Survivor Series traditional match. The 5 Raw, 5 SmackDown, 5 NXT. That one was pretty. It was a different concept because you hadn't seen the triple threat concept in Survivor Series up to that point. So that was 2019 was lit. That was a good one to keep the traditional setting. 2019 was lit.
That's true. I'd be okay if at some point they bring back the original style or they incorporate it again somehow. If they do have something like that, then I'd be okay with it. But yeah, I think the War Games thing, I think it fits. It also, you don't have to have a title match then. Mm-mm. So you're in a spot where, you really don't, you don't want to put your whatever champion in a title match at that point. You don't have to, because it's a themed event. I don't. War Games is fine in my book. Plus, yes, you do have the Dusty aspect to it, which now with Cody especially, I think it's just an homage to Dusty. I don't think it'll ever go away.
All right. Look, I you know what? The hell with another pipe bomb. Can y'all ever foresee a situation, whether it be this year or even next year, where the Judgment Day goes against the Bloodline in either a Survivor Series match or a War Games match? Can y'all foresee anything like that going on?
I don't think you can pull it off. I don't think you can at this point. I mean, just with the idea of like the internal struggles particularly with both factions, but especially with the Judgment Day, you could have done this. You could have done this. I think you possibly could have done this in 22, possibly, maybe last year. You probably take it back. You could have done it last year. I think last year was your one shot. I don't think you can. I don't think you can at this point, unless you have Priest and Rhea go with Roman and possibly Jay and find another woman. But I mean, nah, I don't think you can do it. I don't think you can do it at this point.
I don't see it. It's because now you have two different versions of both factions.
Exactly.
And that now the water's too muddied.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like what direction do you go in? Not to mention, as much as the Judgment Day is producing more stars or has, the Judgment Day doesn't have their Roman equivalent.
Nope.
No.
So, like, there's nobody close to Roman's level in the Judgment Day. Like, the only way you could have been able to do it is, like, let's say Edge stayed in WWE and stayed as the leader of the Judgment Day. Then you could have done it because Edge is at least close enough to Roman's level where you could have done something like that. But there's nobody on Roman's level where you would, like, you could maybe do like the solo version of it, like versus this new version of the Judgment Day, which I personally, I would have liked it if this new Judgment Day changed their name. I would have. I kind of wanted them to like go a different route than like, oh, we're the new Judgment Day. Like because it's like, okay, we just saw another faction over on SmackDown go like, oh, we're the new Bloodline. It's like, all right, can we differ it up a little bit? I'm also I don't think
though, to be honest with you. I don't think you could.
No?
I mean, honestly, I'm not saying they couldn't be really creative and go another route, but I mean, honestly, where would where would you have gone? Because I really wouldn't. I don't see a reason to really change the name. I mean, I kind of like it from the standpoint of Finn and JD basically them basically kicking out Priest and Rhea for Liv Morgan, pretty much. So I mean, I don't think he really could have gone another route with either faction as far as changing the name. To be honest with you,
I guess that's true.
Again, I think each faction have been around long enough, and each faction has won enough to where it's like the cachet is there with both of them now. So it's like there's no reason to really try to change a name to kind of fit a new formation, a new team, new members. Nah, each name has their own they've built something with those names. So no, I don't think you can really change them.
Okay, fair enough.
Hey man, look, I can honestly say, man, hell of an idea by the other two parts of the big three to have a SummerSlam recap show. Got to give you guys your flowers today, man. This was a hell of an idea. Y'all cooked the buffet. We ate real good up here, and now it's time to go home with our bellies full. So on that note, man, tell the people where to follow you at, man. And any final thoughts? We'll start with you, Flash.
You can find me on TikTok as Flash22 with all underscores in between the letters. I posting content on wrestling and sports right now. And then you can same thing with Instagram. It's the same name. You can follow me. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather today, so I'm starting to fade out a little bit here. But yeah, you can catch me on Instagram and TikTok.
Hey, one part about being a wrestling fan, you got to know when it's time to go home. BRF.
Well, hey, as always, BRF Sports is the TikTok handle. Follow me. Click the link tree. Link tree's in the bio. Facebook page, X/Twitter, IG. Follow me at all those. I'm starting to kind of get back into swing, starting to post some content. I know I really need to start putting some baseball stuff up because they're getting into it hot and heavy late in the baseball season. My Braves starting to get on my nerves. They don't know what they're doing right now. And then of course, football season coming in. I'm probably going to start doing some football stuff as well. And just I'm about to really start pumping the content out again. So I want to, all the followers that I have obtained, hopefully future followers I obtain. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. It's been amazing. These 3+ going on 4 years doing this content thing and enjoying it. Shout out to Champ for giving me this platform. Introducing me to new people. Like I got a new brother in arms, Up there in Flash. Hope you get to feeling better. Like I always say, a topic not thought about is a topic not talked about, and we're gonna keep doing this to the fullest. And I am just gonna keep enjoying this ride.
Yes, indeed. Shout out to Columbus, Georgia, man. Thank y'all for everything, man. Hey, let's have another good night tonight. Had a good night last night. Let's have another good night tonight. If you're from Columbus, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't need to get into the particulars. Hey, Flash, get well soon, man. Hey, can't wait to have y'all back next week. BRF, keep doing a great job yourself, man. Hey, always an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to share the stage with the other parts of the big three. And on that note, we are out. Y'all cooked the hell out of the buffet, and our bellies are full. And now it's time to go to bed because we got that itis. I'm going to holler at y'all.